What's the most traumatizing thing that's happened to you? One thing only two humans alive know of left a scar on my soul that has never truly healed. When I was 16, the internet had just exited infancy. I was still fairly innocent for a teenage male. I met someone in AOL's various chat rooms before they were lost to the bots, and came to find out three important things. We hit it off terrifically, with a good blend of overlap and separate interests that the other would at least learn about. He was gay and interested, at least as interested as I was. Now, I suppose I should mention he was 17, I was 16. This isn't a 46-year-old AOL creeper story. It turned out worse. Third, he lived in Chicago. I lived in St. Louis. And a train ticket was affordable about once a month. I traveled up to meet him for the first time at the station in Chicago, anxiously pacing mentally between excitement and what if I've been fooled when I finally saw him. That day, in itself, remains one of my fondest memories. Every 2 weeks, one of us would find our way to the other. For 3 months we grew closer together. Until my final trip to Chicago. His father was supposed to be out of town for a week. Neither he, nor my parents, knew of us. My parents have enough reasons to dislike me, and he was a grade A homophobe. He'd have fit in with the Westboro Baptist cult. This was my first time at his home, and by this point I was ready to go further than kissing, though extremely nervous. For some reason, gay intimacy was never something I thought to look up with the internet that we kept in contact with between visits. We were on his bed, making out and fully attentive to each other, which is why we didn't hear his father come home. His father didn't say a word. What he did was go get his gun and fired one shot. The shot went through my boyfriend's head while I was still making out with him. I am convinced the bullet was meant for me. I am also still uncertain how I escaped with my life. It was the first time I'd ever been shot at, and the first time someone I loved had been taken from me, and in such a violent, hateful manner. Chicago police were, and remain, useless about this. These sorts of cases are difficult to solve and all that. Never mind the eyewitness account I could provide, no one in those days wanted to put forth any effort to bring justice to my boyfriend's killer. Just another shooting death in Chicago. This is why I'll not ever return to Chicago. Not only because the city failed my boyfriend in letting his killer go without so much as an investigation, but because the chance exists that his father and I will cross paths again. This refusal disguised as a man robbed me of my friend, my lover, and I remain convinced of my future. I still have nightmares of this. I still remember vividly how he felt going from alive and passionate to dead and limp in my arms before I even realized either of us was in danger. And I genuinely believe that if this had not happened, he and I would have had years together, if not the rest of our lives. And if I meet him on the street, I know what transpires next will leave only one of us alive. The only solace I have ever found came a few years later, when I found out the shot likely killed him before he even registered danger or pain, and that my lips and body pressed against his was the final sensation he felt.